Okay, greetings and welcome. This is the Eccentric Perspective. I am your host, Blake Wally. It is Tuesday, August 5th, 2025, and I will be here for the next 60 to 90 minutes covering the latest news and current events. And man, do I have a huge show lined up. So, we'll see. Here's the thumbnail for today. Couple of major stories to talk about. Perhaps the tide is turning. Perhaps justice will be served to the elites or not. Maybe they're just laughing at us. So we shall see. We're not going to find the conclusion today, but we can certainly speculate. So here's what we have. We got, Comey and Brennan, the Clintons, laughing in the courtroom behind me as I get ready to sip on my mojito there. Okay, well, anyway, that's the headline. Although there are plenty of other stories to discuss. In fact, I have a bunch of them. Although at some point I think they just intertwine to some extent. So I'll try to keep this relatively tight today. So here we go. Democrats, should they be laughing at the latest subpoenas? And the biggest victim of RussiaGate is Hillary Clinton. Well, it looks like I forgot a quotation there. Bad boy. Okay, MAGA is going to destroy itself for turning on Israel. And good Christians, should they obey the Bible and support Israel? Unconditional love for our favorite ally. Maybe, maybe not. Okay, how about withholding aid from states that boycott the Israeli industries? Maybe. That was a very controversial one that popped out yesterday. Okay, starving Gazans. Are they just a myth spread by Hamas and their mega propaganda system? And the Israel lobby, should they be amplified so that they could better control Congress? And how about Alex Stein, 99? Did he win the internet? That would be yesterday, August 4th. And humans, are they just slaves being run by the Reptilian overlords? I don't know. We'll get into that because why not? That's what we're here for. This is the Eccentric Perspective. And of course, you can always chime in, give your 2 cents, your praise, criticism, news stories, breaking stories, and all of that. Here's TK Mark. Any arrests? Not yet. Not yet. But yes, some people are very pessimistic, and they're going to be. And I guess they have an absolute right to be, since it's been a 2-tiered system for too long. But yes, there are... I hear you, buddy. Until that finally happens, if it happens, and we don't know. So, meanwhile, there they are, laughing at you. Come arrest us, stupid Americans. Just going to sit there and watch your TikTok videos and your reality TV. I don't know. What do people do these days? I'm an old boomer now. Shocker. Well, I don't know. TK Mark. Are you being realistic? Ask yourself, are you being realistic? And should they jump into the arrests? Although, there's been some big developments here. You got to be happy with some of this stuff. I mean, there could be absolutely nothing going on, right? There could be nothing. No arrests, no release of any files, no subpoenas, just a complete silence from everybody in the Trump world. What do you mean? What do we care? We don't RussiaGate anything, accountability with Tulsi Gabbard. I mean, what if we didn't have Tulsi Gabbard? What if she wasn't releasing some of this stuff? What if Kash Patel didn't find a secret room in the FBI with all of the burn bags and the evidence? They could have just said nothing, just let it all quietly go while they pretended they were going to do something. But I don't know. You got to have, I don't know if it's just being realistic, but whatever. It's all good. There's too much hopium and optimism, and then there are the other extreme, which is definitely just going to be pessimistic until something actually happens. So one of the two camps. But anyway, there we go. We're steering the show. So if you guys want to chime in, those of you lurking or what have you, please feel free to throw your comments out there, and perhaps I will display them and mock them mercilessly. Or not. No, I do appreciate your comments, but not all of them will be posted. Anyway, let's move on. Let's do the quick intro, and then we'll start jumping into the news stories, and I'll give you what I've got so far. So stay tuned on the other side of this very quick 40-second break, and I will see you there. Okay, here we go. Okay, welcome back. Blake Wally, the Eccentric Perspective. Here we go with this historical broadcast with the elites laughing at the peasants. Come get us. Come get us. You can't. We rule over you forever and ever, and there will never be justice brought to us. You will entertain us in the new round of the Hunger Games with your peasant children, while we continue to destroy the parasites on your controlling your taxes, controlling your lives. Who knows? But one person does not agree. Molly Hemingway says on the new RussiaGate revelations, Democrats involved in it should be scared. But I mean, these are actually two separate stories that are maybe commingled a little bit, because we do have the Epstein. We have two major scandals going on. So TK Mark, are you not pleased? Is this not moving along fast enough? You have two. So the Epstein thing it ran into some turbulence from Trump a couple of weeks ago, but it's coming back, and now the pressure really is on a big time for RussiaGate as well. So, there's definitely two sides. There are major developments moving. This isn't wild speculation. This isn't wait 2 years for the Durham report. This is subpoenas happening right now. So we'll take one look here from Molly Hemingway from the Federalist, appearing on Fox News, suggesting Democrats who were involved in the Russia hoax against President Trump should be scared. So, not laughing, not a laughing matter. And you know what? Even so, I mean, this isn't going to be what they think it is. It is, at the very least, this would have to be some kind of inconvenience. And I have to be very careful. This isn't going to be a fun event for them. I don't think there's going to be any laughing in the courtroom, although Grok is terrific with his artwork there. Certainly had some fun with the thumbnail, but Molly Hemingway, why don't we just let her speak? It's only a 1-minute clip rather than me reading the transcript. So here we go.
What's really important for people to know is that in the last couple of weeks, we have had an explosive amount of information giving brand new details that weren't previously released about how the Obama chiefs and Obama conspired to hide real information, showing that, yes, Russia did what it always did, but it didn't really have any effect, and it wasn't done on behalf of a particular candidate. You might remember that we spent years with the false claim that it was done to benefit Trump. We then had also that they manufactured intelligence and immediately leaked it to compliant media people. And then they had people within their agencies fighting so hard to keep these falsehoods and lies from getting out. And they were threatened with their jobs. They were told there was secret intelligence. We also learned what this supposed secret intelligence was. I mean, just absolutely explosive stuff that's brand new and that really does show that there was a very bad conspiracy. And so this investigation is good, and the people who were involved in it, which is a lot of the Democrat Party, should be scared.
All right, panel.
Okay. Well, there you go. They weren't expecting this evidence to come out. But it's out there, and it's going to be back to haunt them potentially. So not a good thing. I'm sure they would love this story to go away, and right now it is boiling in front of everybody. TK Mark is saying the issue is the way that they're laying out the cases. Subpoenas from a judge are real. Subpoenas from Congress are a laughing matter. Okay, so, well, I don't know if they can dismiss them, especially if they set the precedent there with Steve Bannon. Got to show up. Even some of the people from the auto pen scandal eventually were persuaded in. But yeah, they needed a subpoena to force them. Saying none of them will show up to Congress. They'll be held in contempt, and then nothing. Well, Steve Bannon did go to jail for a while. Don't know if the same will be done. I expect Trump is going to do something. But I mean, you know, until TK Mark gets an arrest, a big arrest, you're going to continue to be in a very negative frame of mind on this, and that's totally okay. And for all I know, in a few years, nothing will actually happen. But then if nothing happened, wouldn't you think that they're going to go after Trump and the Patriots again? Or, I don't know. That Trump would be persecuted again? I mean, they did try to throw him in prison any way they could. So I don't know. I think he's got to protect himself at some point, but we can't see into the future yet. But who knows? Maybe TK Mark will be apologizing years from now and saying, I can't believe how negative I was that they were never going to arrest anybody. And I was just bitter and bitter. And then finally, oh my God, they finally closed the door. They finally arrested Bill and Hillary Clinton and Comey and Clapper and Brennan and so many. And finally, they're in jail. I can't believe I didn't trust the plan. Who knows? But so here's the breaking news. Now this is over the Epstein thing, not to be confused with the Russia thing. But now Hillary's got to face, looks like, an attack on two fronts. So definitely, they're cranking up the heat right now. So you've got House Oversight subpoenas Hillary Clinton, James Comey, Merrick Garland, Bill Barr, and other deep state operatives in relation to the Epstein files. And the deposition schedule is already released. So it's coming up now. Hillary Clinton's going to go, I think, second to last. The Clintons, they're giving them 2 months to prepare for what's about to happen to them. I suppose they get a little special privilege there, but not so much on some of the rest. Bill Barr is on August 18th, so that's only a couple weeks away. James Comey's on October 7th. You've even got Trust the Plan Jeff Sessions on August 28th. Robert Mueller, Loretta Lynch, and even Eric Holder, corrupt attorney general under Obama, first term, September 30th. So the subpoenas aim to provide the federal government's handling of sex trafficking laws, whether powerful individuals implicated in the Epstein network received preferential treatment. Committee's actions show to even lawmakers away from Washington on a month-long break. So yes, despite the August break, there's still lots of interest in the Epstein files, and they're not buried just because Trump is in office. So there are developments, and we are going to have plenty of interesting news weeks into the fall. looks like, because every one of these, especially with some of these high-level people, are going to be we're going to get some good material out of all of them. Okay, so let's keep moving on. Back to Russian hoax, as Pam Bondi has now ordered a grand jury investigation into the Russia collusion hoax. We've got subpoenas over Epstein, and then we've got the grand jury, and this might also be in Florida, which will be interesting. Maybe it's taking the Democrats out of or some of these high-level deep state people out of their comfort zone in D.C. So perhaps that will be an interesting twist on this as well. So you got AG Bondi ordering the grand jury investigation. We'll check out a clip here on Fox.
Fox News can confirm that Attorney General Pam Bondi today signed an order directing an unnamed U.S. federal prosecutor to take evidence to a grand jury relating to an alleged conspiracy to tie then 2016 candidate Donald Trump to the country of Russia. Now, Fox News reviewed the one-page order just hours ago signed by the Attorney General. A source familiar with the probe confirms this as well, while a DOJ spokesperson declined to comment on this report of an investigation. Fox is told Attorney General Bondi is taking the referrals from Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, quote, very seriously. The spokesperson says that Bondi believes there is, quote, clear cause for deep concern, end quote, and a need for the next steps. Now, this move comes just a couple of weeks after the Director of National Intelligence, you see her right there, Tulsi Gabbard, sent a criminal referral to the Justice Department regarding what she says proves there was a conspiracy to undermine Trump's candidacy and later his first term in office. Now, to be clear today, there are no charges that have been filed, no indictments. This is incredibly early in the process. What we have here is taking evidence the Justice Department believes it has to a grand jury to secure an eventual indictment or indictments. We don't know exactly where the grand jury will meet. We don't know who will go before the grand jury, and that's by design, because grand juries determine if there's enough evidence to indict, and grand juries are secretive in the American legal system, so it's normal not to know all of the answers. Again, the DOJ declining on any comment regarding this investigation. But, Will, big news, this was signed by the Attorney General Pam Bondi today to take this evidence of an alleged conspiracy to a grand jury with the hope to get an indictment or multiple indictments.
Okay, so good stuff. I'm pleased with the results. I could be pessimistic. It's just a waste of time. Nothing's going to happen. It's over. You're just laughing at us. Going to be optimistic here. Again, things are moving. This is serious stuff. We're talking about, some of the biggest scandals in American history, and they're all coming together. There's a series of them. Once the dam breaks on one of them, man, it's going to create a potential cascade. We're going to unravel a lot of scandals once people are open to what's going on, what's been happening. It's going to really rock everything. Okay, and hello, Deb. Great to see you too. Thanks for making an appearance. It's always fun to have you in chat. So, okay. Well, now we'll move along. Let's take a next clip I have. Highlight is the operative Nicole Wallace. We're openly calling it obvious. She's like a mockingbird CIA intelligence operative or something, masquerading as a journalist. Now they're being forced to finally cover this. You kind of like, we don't want to cover the RussiaGate. We'll just pretend it doesn't exist. But at some point, once they start indicting people, once they start bringing them up, they're going to be forced to cover it in some way. This is embarrassing for them because they ran with this for years, perpetuating an absolute lie of a story, and most of them knew it was a lie. And so they're just destroying their own credibility by having to talk about it. But they did it to themselves. So but they're going to spin it, of course.
Some more news breaking this hour to tell you about. Attorney General Pam Bondi has ordered a grand jury investigation into the so-called RussiaGate conspiracy allegations made by the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. A senior Trump administration official confirms to NBC News. That investigation was first reported by Fox News. These are unsubstantiated and largely debunked allegations by the Trump administration that former President Barack Obama and his aides in the intelligence community ordered a probe into the 2016 Trump campaign's connections to Russia to ruin his chances of becoming president. The source tells NBC News that a letter signed by Pam Bondi instructs an unnamed federal prosecutor to begin presenting evidence to secure potential indictments, although it is unclear what the charges would be and exactly who the...
How about seditious conspiracy? Performing a coup on the American people. Treachery.
grand jury will be targeting. We'll stay on top of that story. Thank you for letting us into your homes.
In fact, after that's all said and done, they should start going after some of these journalists that perpetuated the propaganda and this massive hoax upon the people. So let's check out one more clip here. I've got a few. I had one with Stephen Miller. Gonna go into that, the coup stuff. Russia collusion. Here we go. He's going to be bringing some fire here.
The Russia collusion hoax against President Trump remains the single greatest hoax and the greatest assault on our democracy in the history of this country. There's no comparison. There's no parallel to anything else. It was a coup. And I'm using that term literally. It was a coup to overthrow a democratically elected government, a coup carried out by the intelligence apparatus of this country, by the deep state, by Hillary Clinton and the Democrat Party. The new information that has been revealed by the Director of National Intelligence and by the FBI eliminates any scintilla of doubt about the intention, the premeditation, the planning and orchestration of this conspiracy. It meets all of the criminal elements of a seditious conspiracy against the United States. It meets the criminal elements of an insurrection. It meets the criminal elements of a conspiracy against the government and the criminal elements of a conspiracy to deprive citizens of their civil rights under color of law. One egregious felony after another. And because it is a conspiracy, as demonstrated by the forethought of realizing and documenting that they understood that this was fake from the beginning, meeting the mens rea standard in law. Because of that, because it is a conspiracy, every single individual actor is now part of that conspiracy. So that includes Brennan and Clapper and Comey and Hillary and Schiff and everybody else who knowingly and willfully perpetrated this plot, this coup, this conspiracy, this scheme against President Trump and the government of the United States. And now is the time and the hour and the moment for accountability so that we can reclaim this democracy, Maria.
Okay. Boom. Right before the InfoWars intro there. But yeah, great clip. Bringing the thunder. So this is pretty serious stuff. There hasn't been an arrest made, technically. I mean, what else can we possibly be hoping for? So, I don't know. I love that these are huge developments. So, I'm very pleased so far. I can nitpick, but what's the point right now? Let's take the good right now. Keep riding that energy, and we'll see if there's something comes out of it. Got some, should be a very spicy fall season here. So, yep, saying there was recently a law enacted. The past presidents are exempt from indictments. Obama is safe. Although I think at some point he might get dragged into this. Now I forget some of the legality of it. But there is going to be a way to dig in. But first, we're going to take down some of these other people first. But if they could take down Hillary Clinton and Clapper, well, not Clapper, but Comey, Brennan. This is eventually going to lead to Obama. Although I wonder if there's some way that they're all just going to blame Hillary, because she's probably more involved in this than Obama because of her email scandal. This kind of led to the whole Russian collusion thing that they made up. So as bad as Obama was, it's definitely I think all the roads are actually going to lead to Hillary at some point. But I don't know. I think at some point, if the people are outraged enough and they can go there must be a road to take down Obama too. Okay, great to have you, Rick. It's all good, man. Show up. It's good to have you here live, but anyway, good stuff. I'm late too, man. I've been going at like 3:15 lately. It's a lot of so many different interesting points to bring up. It's quite the news cycle lately. So, yeah, debunked. Typical fake news. Yes, that's what they love to do to their audience. That's why Nicole Wallace is definitely dangerous. Typical, as she would act like an intelligence operative, trying to control our reality and spreading fake news. So, now we on fire again. I had not seen that. But yes, Deb, I would say, yeah, journalists there, not all of them. Some of them are just useful idiots trying to make a buck. But a lot of them, like, yeah, Maddow and Nicole Wallace, and so many others knew exactly what they were doing and went along with it anyway. They deny and lie, but at some point we'll see if that catches up to them. But TK Mark is saying, based on the Miller's statements, a grand jury is unnecessary. Like, I don't know. I'm not going to say I'm a legal expert because I certainly am not. But we'll leave that up to them, and I will just say, hey, this looks like positive developments, unless there's a reason not to. I could sit here and complain, well, they haven't arrested anybody yet. But is that the appropriate move right now? I don't know if it is. But unless, the liberal media, the leftist media, if they did not cover any of this and they just treated it as a joke, at some point maybe you'd have to make an arrest and show this is serious and then force them to cover it. But we just saw Nicole Wallace covering this, so they're reluctantly having to admit it, but then, spinning it. But we're going to see developments on all of these fronts. Rick Norman, 4 major fires going on. So between Maui, Canada, California, and the Grand Canyon. I'll take a look at that. Treason is not exempt. Thank you, TK Moore. We have to have all perspectives on here. We'll get the optimist, and the pessimist will be TK Mark. That's all good. All righty. And yes, as they were saying, Brennan and Clapper, they do not have a statute of limitations defense because they're still continuing the conspiracy. That has not, still moving that. They're still playing along with that until they can't. They're going to have to get their story straight. But with all this other evidence that they weren't planning for, they've got to be scrambling. I can't imagine them laughing. Like I said, at very least, this is a massive inconvenience. And they have to lawyer up. They got to go. They're going to have to show up at these places. And they're going to be very, very careful about the way that they're wording everything so they don't incriminate themselves. Or they're just going to, I guess, plead the fifth and just think they're going to walk away. I don't know. Here's a tweet from Clandestine saying, these subpoenas are a no-win situation. So even if they plead the fifth, that will prove that they have zero dirt on Trump. Why plead the fifth? If you are professionals in Washington at the highest levels, you should know. You shouldn't have to plead the fifth. You should have known exactly what you were doing, unless you were involved in a conspiracy and misleading the public. But but if they do talk, they will incriminate themselves, and they will also prove that they have zero dirt on Trump, that they manufactured this whole RussiaGate thing. So this move from House Republicans is essentially calling the Democrats and the mainstream media's bluff and allowing them to show the evidence to support their claims that Trump committed heinous atrocities with Epstein. So as much as they thought the Epstein thing was going away, and then the leftists all of a sudden had not mentioning it for years under the Biden. Now they're talking about it for Trump because they think it'll take him down, but it wasn't going away. Clearly not anymore. So we'll see what Bill and Hillary and all of those other guys say. They've already talked to Ghislaine. I don't know if they're working out a deal there. Dems, they don't want it to happen. They wanted this. Now they're getting what they wanted. So be careful of what you wish for. So they didn't actually want the subpoenas, but now it'll force them to show their hand, and they have nothing. So their smear campaign against Trump is about to be over. The subpoenas neutralize the enemy's current attempts to associate Trump with Epstein. So we shall see. Now Representative Anna Paulina confirmed they found burn bags in the FBI's the secret room that they uncovered. It's with the Jeffrey Epstein evidence they were trying to destroy. So now the FBI is also under investigation for that, at least the previous version of it. So continue to go after Ray and Comey and all of the dirty deep state operatives. So good stuff. Let's see. Got another interesting. Well, this is from last week. This is almost old news, but it's still. There's still, I think, hope of going after Obama. Let's check this out.
Look, this conspiracy to frame Trump turns out to be more devious and diabolical, Sean, than I think anybody imagined. And today's documents further implicate Barack Obama as deeply embedded in the hoax, pressuring Comey to clear Hillary Clinton of her email crimes, then joining the scheme to push the phony collusion narrative that Clinton instigated.
Yes, what do? You're kind of stuck in that position because he didn't want to deal with this scandal right at the very end of his administration with this awful Secretary of State that he was saddled with. I'm sure he did not like dealing with Hillary. And Hillary was, yes, constantly a troublemaker, meddlesome. And she got into a lot of trouble with the email server. And that kind of led to this and put Obama in a weird position. So where he decided to, they colluded to protect Hillary. They should have just thrown Hillary under the bus. I guess they couldn't do that. So then they just decided to try to frame Trump as a Russian operative. It's quite amazing. It's like a great Hollywood script. It's hard to believe that this actually happened in real life, but it looks like it certainly did. And now we're getting some of the details now that Trump and Tulsi Gabbard are digging in, and now that they've, I guess, found all of this evidence that they were trying to destroy. So this got very exciting. So, oops, just gonna post another comment here. Rick is a lie with the SNAP benefits. Yeah, I haven't dug into that. There's a girl I follow from Shipwreck, kind of a new. She's another political analyst. She was talking about these SNAP benefits. It's not dear to me, so I haven't been looking at it. But certainly there's waste, fraud, and abuse all over the place. So yeah, you want to see the people that get the SNAP benefits to, get food that they need, but not when they're blowing it on a bunch of stupid junk food. And then they're idiots are making TikTok videos like flaunting their government wealth. Anywho, yeah, but I haven't dug into that one too much. But the interesting note there, Rick. And Bill and Hillary been subpoenaed. Yes, so they are going to be in court in October. So they get to lawyer up, but they'll have 2 months to prepare their cases, about a week apart. So that should be very interesting. They're still going around free, and yes, after Epstein at the island for all those years, at least 26 trips. So I'm sure he's got a lot to explain, but I'm sure he's probably going to plead the fifth. I don't know how he's going to squirm out of that one. So we shall see. All right, let's keep moving with this one.
And then, of course, engineering the fabricated FBI case against Trump. You know, Obama could have stopped it. He could have told the truth. He didn't want to do that. So it's a stunning window into how Obama's CIA and FBI were run by corrupt actors like Comey, Brennan, and Clapper, key players in the conspiracy, and they all plotted and connived to sabotage Trump, along with Democrat Party officials, we learned today. Of course, the bogus dossier and 2 cybersecurity firms doing their dirty work. Then later, Obama directed his intel pals, let's manipulate and alter the intelligence to justify what we've done, using the fake dossier to supercharge the hoax. Sean, they abused.
So, yeah, massive scandal, coup, insurrection, seditious conspiracy, treason, divided the country, sabotaged the entire Trump administration right from the get-go. Major. Okay, well. Subpoena was only for Congress. Right. Yeah, so I know this is the confusing issue. You got the RussiaGate on one side and then the Epstein stuff. So the RussiaGate is getting the grand jury treatment, and the Epstein are being subpoenaed by Congress. So I know these actors kind of blur together, and there's some like Hillary Clinton are going to be a part in both of these things. So yeah, that's an October surprise and some very eventful news coverage for the fall. So, yeah, they'll try to spin it, bury it, and then Denzel Washington will play Obama the hero. I don't know. Yeah, we'll have to testify before Congress, and then we'll see from there. But at least there's something happening with the Epstein stuff. So as much as people thought that, oh, they're going to just bury it and it's going to go away, and then Congress is going to be recessed for all of August, and then it's going to be on the back burner and no one's going to care. And no. Things have changed very quickly. It's a major story. It's not going away. So I think we have to be very pleased with that. I'm going to be optimistic on that, because it's still going. And here's the Russia collusion hoax grand jury impaneled in Florida, which could be significant.
I told you last week that Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, had given permission for a strike force to begin. That's a very specific tool the Justice Department uses on major conspiracies. And we told you then we would know it was getting serious when the grand jury jumped into action. We now know that a grand jury will be impaneled. Most likely, my sources are telling me, it could be in Florida, where the raid of President Trump's Mar-a-Lago home happened. So that is the very latest. You can check it out at Just News. We're going to have a whole lot more on that over the course of the next years.
Okay. So that could be significant. It's like taking them off their home field and forcing them to play on the road in a hostile environment. Maybe. But an interesting twist that people have pointed out, so I will take that. Another post here from Clandestine, maybe towards TK Mark. See many people asking when arrests will happen, and the answer is when the public are ready. Trump and his team are not declassifying these RussiaGate revelations just for fun. The public have to be briefed before the high-profile arrests. The public must be aware and prepared for what is going to happen. Otherwise, the shock and backlash could be catastrophic and a legitimate threat to national security. So if they just went and arrested Obama, Comey, Clapper, Hillary, and all of that, you could see potentially civil uprisings, riots, chaos. Of course, you know that the Soros funding and all of that for all the AstroTurf activists will go nuts. So that could be problematic. I'm not saying it's right. I mean, it's easy to just say, oh, someone's got to go in and arrest these guys and then everything's going to be cool. Well, I don't know. Is that necessary yet? Can they wait a little longer? Does that have to happen? It does eventually, like within the next year or two. I don't know. As long as they can keep destroying these people in public, the public will finally go, hey, well, then why aren't we arresting? When there's a majority of people that want this to happen, it'll happen. I believe that. So I think there is a point to be made here. So the public must understand why these people are being arrested. The public have been conditioned to trust in many and believe in many of these people, and the psychological blow is going to be extremely difficult to stomach, which I'm sure they are being brainwashed by the propaganda. And those propagandists will have a vested interest in keeping their secrets. So they'll play along with it. They'll throw fuel in the fire or oil on the fire. But anyway, so our mission is to combat the propaganda from the corrupt MSM, awaken, guide the public, and win in the court of public opinion. We were created for this moment. This is the new Patriots. In this historical battle of good and evil, much like our forefathers fighting against the corrupt crown. Now the Patriots of this day calling together, and it took a while. It's not easy. This is a big fight, trying to take down the establishment, deep state, the elites, or at least some of the dirty players. Anywho. So yeah, the RussiaGate documents show Hillary Clinton at the forefront of the scandal, so maybe not necessarily Obama. And what's interesting is that a lot of this information, it came from the Russians. They had done a hack, and then they themselves were hacked by the Dutch, and then the Dutch passed the intel to the U.S. authorities, according to this. So, but rather than shut it down, so the Hillary Clinton, when they found out that they made up a scandal and the intel agencies helped her spread the lie. So the Russians knew a long time ago that they were planning, that the Hillary Clinton campaign was planning to smear Trump as like belonging to the Russian mob. But then it ended up being Putin and the Kremlin. So that's interesting. So rather than report that, they decided to just spin the evidence, blame it on Trump. It's a great article here from Racket News, Matt Taibbi, RussiaGate, and saying there's basically no doubt left about the cover-up. One of the most convoluted, hard to follow news stories of all time. Years and years, ending anticlimactically with Robert Mueller, as he broke the hearts of the MSNBC audiences by issuing a report without any new indictments. And then so they launched the whole fishing expedition, just trying to look at Trump and all of his associates, trying to find any connection to Russia they could, manufacturing it when they came to it, or if they needed to. they didn't have the information, they could manufacture it. Public will buy it. Media will be happy to take it. They love the scoops. They created this whole fraudulent scandal. But ultimately, they could not get anything to stick. Had to let it go. Now, with Trump back in the White House, they're looking for revenge, finding lots of new info, and now we can pick this thing apart. It was purely a Clinton corruption story. It says, with the help of the declassified new Durham material, they can explain the whole affair in 3 brushstrokes. 1, it was Hillary Clinton and her team apparently hoping to deflect from her emails scandal. And so why not spin that as with a campaign tying Trump to Putin? And then 2, their American Security Service learned of these plans. And 3, the most important part, instead of outing them, authorities used state resources to massively expand and amplify her scheme. And the last stage required the enthusiastic cooperation and curiosity of the entire commercial news business, which cheered as the conspirators made an enforcement target of Trump, who was just an irrelevant bystander, had nothing to do with it. And they smeared him as a puppet for Putin on the payroll of the Kremlin. But now it's pretty obvious that it was Clinton Hillary trying to save herself. And they put this all together. And now you're seeing some of her associates having communications. These emails are now public with the DNC, the Soros Foundation, coming together to put this nonsense together. So, very interesting. Here's another tweet. Here's a tweet from Matt Taibbi talking about just looking at James Comey and Stephen Colbert smearing Trump. This is back in 2018, just to bring you back into the past, a little refresher for the ways that Comey knew everything. At this time, he was sitting there with propagandist, pretend comedian Colbert, knowing that the entire dossier was fiction and it was paid for by the Clinton campaign. That didn't stop him from... So he went on to this show to make a spectacle and sell his total BS story in front of the American people.
You went in January of 2017 to tell President Trump about the Steele dossier. How did you tell him that there was and I want to put this delicately, pee-pee tape? How did you tell him about that rumor?
I spoke about information, unverified, that related to an allegation that he was with prostitutes in a hotel in Moscow and that the Russians had videotaped it. I didn't go into the rest of it. I thought that was notice enough. And
So you didn't mention the salacious...
It's amazing knowing that it was bullshit and then having to sit there with Trump and sell him on this.
Detail of the 2 prostitutes getting up on the bed that the Obamas had stayed in because it was the presidential suite, and engaging in some water play. You didn't mention that at all.
This is 2018. This is after Trump has been sitting president for a couple of years, and here he is getting mocked on national TV over a total bullshit fiction. And this man right here, the former director of the FBI, knew full well that it was bullshit. And he still went on and sold it. And Colbert is just happily going along with it, even though it was ridiculous. A story that so outlandish that prostitutes were engaged in golden showers with the president because he wanted to trash the bed that he slept in Moscow. I mean, it's just so stupid. And they knew it was stupid. But they lied to the American people, and there's people that want to believe it. So yeah, there has to be accountability for this kind of stuff. Yeah, it's like watching the KGB channel. I don't know. All right, here's another Epstein note. Interesting clip here from a senior Mossad officer confirming that Epstein worked for Mossad and has been blackmailing American presidents for decades. It's kind of his thing. Chum up to these high-level people, get them blackmailed, and then they can compromise them. And obviously, there was a major connection since his girlfriend associate, Ghislaine Maxwell's father, was well known to be part of the Mossad.
The killing in Gaza. I believe that the American government is sort of trapped by the Israelis. Jeffrey Epstein is one of their tools to trap them.
Here is senior Mossad agent.
Okay. Well, anyway, it's well known. So we'll get some answers on this. So as Deb is saying, yes, October surprises, we hope. We have a clear definition of what the treason is. I don't know. Well, let's get back to the topics here. So Democrats, should they be laughing at the latest subpoenas? No. This is for real. This is not a drill. And some, like Hillary, have to be planning for two major scandals, playing defense. So she had to deal with Benghazi, and she actually weaseled her way out of that one. Now, several years later, now she's got these two coming back down on her. And at some point, it's going to catch up. So the biggest victim of RussiaGate is Hillary Clinton. Now, the biggest victim was Donald Trump. Hillary Clinton set this all up. So the buck stops with her at some point. Although it was, definitely with Obama and Brennan and Comey and so many more. But I guess the biggest culprit, would be Hillary Clinton. All right, next, MAGA. Is it going to destroy itself for turning on Israel? There's a few of these topics. I guess they'll probably blur together to some point here. MAGA. So good Christians, should they obey the Bible and support Israel and withholding aid from states? So now it's time to get to the Israel stuff again, because that's something prominent in the news. So why don't we just start here with Mike Johnson delivering a speech at the Wailing Wall in Israel. I don't know why these politicians, they're on break. And what do? You'd think they'd do something here in America. Or maybe, sometimes they have a, European vacation or go somewhere cool, go to Japan, go the Caribbean, what have you. But why does it seem like out of proportion that so many of the prominent Republicans on their way to visit Israel, adding that the Bible tells Christians to always stand with Israel? Problem is, this new version of Israel was founded in 1948, 2,000 years after the stories from the Bible. A little bit of a problem there. I'm also having a problem with my connection. Let's try this again.
The House of Representatives, Mike Johnson, the 56th Speaker of the House of Representatives in America. We're here with a delegation of members of the House. We're so grateful to be in Israel, particularly on this day, recognizing the destruction of the two temples and two times in history. But it is such a moving time for us to be here at the Wailing Wall. We've offered our prayers. We put our notes into the wall as just traditional. And we're so moved by the hospitality of the people and the great love of Israel. Our prayer...
And the money that they are showering on you with your campaign contributions, I'm sure,
is that America will always stand with Israel, and that we will we pray for the preservation and the peace of Jerusalem. That's what Scripture tells us.
Okay, yeah, we could pray for the peace there. Yeah, keep going. Now it's cutting off at the end. Damn it.
Pray for the preservation and the peace of Jerusalem. That's what Scripture tells us.
Basically saying that's what Scripture tells us. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. Maybe a couple thousand years ago in that region, sure, but not with all of these non-Semite East Europeans masquerading as God's chosen people that colonized that country. Now they're buying off our politicians. So no, I don't think I would agree with that. I don't know why it's Ted Cruz, Johnson, and so many of the other ones. I don't know how they conflate modern Israel with the biblical Israel. Two totally different things that are just not compatible. Though they are trying to force us to accept it, they're definitely not. And Ted Cruz got exposed big time, and I've got a video of him coming up about that as well. Okay, more pessimism from TK Mark. Wasn't Comey supposed to be arrested for threatening an elected official? I don't know if that was going to be a threat. So if that's not going to be happen to me, why should I think that will now? That's a minor little thing on his Instagram thing that was he thought was okay. It certainly was not, but I don't know if that was ever going to set anything up. So I'd be a lot more worried about RussiaGate. Him making a little display in the sand with some seashells is not the same as manipulating the intelligence assessment from the community and using that to smear Trump and spy on his campaign. But, you know, I get it. But I know TK Mark is going to be pessimistic no matter what, up until somebody is finally arrested. Who knows? Maybe. Or maybe they'll get arrested and you'll be like, oh, they're just going to be bailed out in a week. I don't know. We'll see. Anyhow, yeah, good point here. It's Rick, yes, Israel is a piece of land. It is not, well, yeah, it's not a religion, and there needs to be a big distinction between the religion and this nation state, which has been caused a lot of trouble for that region for a long time, and now it's gotten to a whole new level now, and the world is really turning on them in a big way. And there's a lot of overreactions right now. And there's a lot of new controversies that have been popping up in the last few weeks as they are dealing with a major PR crisis, and also the idea that there's probably starving genocide and other war crimes and atrocities. Alrighty. Called Johnson. Yeah, I'm sick of some of these fake Christians there on the right. It's a nice enough man, but there's definitely room for criticism. And I definitely cherry pick parts of the Bible. Some of them maybe genuinely believe it, like Ted Cruz with good intentions, but it is pretty silly looking at it now. When you kind of zoom out, there's something very wrong. And maybe they set up that country of Israel with good intentions, but now it's clearly there's no room for a two-state solution anymore. Things have hit a really alarming level, and I don't know how they're going to fix that right now. It's definitely a big propaganda war. It's definitely, well, there's a lot of good stories. I'm going to get into some more. How about big alarming situation yesterday with the Trump administration partially walking back their plan to deny disaster aid to cities that boycott Israel. So this was a huge story yesterday. Walking into that, just checking out on Sunday, and this was all the rage on Twitter X. People were understandably freaking out about this. So it was just strange. So Homeland Security actually put out a tweet, and they were corrected by community notes. They actually somebody decided they were so worried that some states in the country were so outraged and disgusted by the actions of Israel from what they were doing to Gaza that they wanted to just boycott certain companies or just not having to deal with Israel whatsoever. And so they decided to put this clause with the DHS that they would withhold aid for many of these states. So like if I don't know which state it would be, like just say if it wouldn't be Tennessee, but if it was Tennessee, so Tennessee decided, hey, we're disgusted by what's happening in Gaza. We're not going to we're gonna boycott this Israeli business. They would be forced, or they would be threatened. So if there was a tornado or something and they needed assistance, they'd say no because you're anti-Semitic. You said you boycotted these Israel companies. Now you're going to face punishment, if that's how I'm interpreting this. But this is wild. That's why it was such a strange story to see. And it was like, oh, please say this isn't happening. There must be an explanation. So they specify there is no FEMA requirement tied to Israel. I mean, it's weird to have a DHS, official DHS, have to make an announcement saying there is no FEMA requirement tied to Israel in any current the NOFO. No states have lost funding and no conditions have been imposed. FEMA grants remain governed by existing law and policy, not by political litmus tests. And the readers added context, the community notes, saying that because the states said that boycott Israeli companies will lose disaster relief funds. So I can't imagine them trying to threaten that over some other country that has nothing to do with us and disaster relief. It's just weird. All right, so DHS terms and conditions they only removed a section stating that boycott means refusing to deal, cutting commercial relations, or otherwise limiting commercial relations specifically with Israeli companies. And they were calling them out. Why are you lying? You literally updated your guidelines 20 minutes ago, and I guess people were finding the old links. So they're trying to set this precedent that basically, I guess Israel comes first. Like they are overlords, and they could actually have an effect on states' disaster relief funds. How is that possible? Why would they even go to that level? And this is weird. You think Kristi Noem, but this is how far some of these Israel supporting Christians will go, the highest levels, to protect Israel over even the United States. This is her saying, ensuring the security of God's chosen people. How they would grow. She grew up and family would together and they would pray for Israel. Well, I mean, there was a time where maybe you prayed for the Jews that were being persecuted by the Fuhrer and all of that awful stuff and the atrocities, and I'm not going to deny the Holocaust or anything like that. That would be wrong. But man, now praying for the modern form of Israel as it bullies its neighbors and is constantly, just intertwined with our military-industrial complex in a very negative way. And now they're coming after our states? What the hell? How did this happen? Trying to give you your own homeland? Now you're saying you can't do business with us? We're going to punish your state? Like, what? I don't get it. I mean, it's so bizarre. It feels weird to cover this. Yeah, the Trump administration's to deny disaster aid to states and cities that boycott Israel. This is a real thing. There's another one from Colin Rugg. Trump administration announced that states and cities that boycott Israeli companies will be denied federal aid tied to natural disasters. That was according to Reuters. They must follow terms and conditions to qualify for funding. How chilling is that? Federal and FEMA stated in grant notices that states must follow its terms and conditions, and you're not allowed to target Israeli companies. That's just bizarre. Okay. Oh yeah, there you go. Bizarre. I mean, I don't know what else to even say. Why throw this in there? Alex Jones had a vlog about that as well.
This just broke. Trump admin to withhold disaster funding for state cities that boycott Israel. Folks, it's one thing to deny funding for education if they use it for transgender brainwashing, or to withhold funding, from the medical system if they refuse to give surgery to people that haven't taken shots, or fire nurses and doctors. But to say we're not going to give you disaster funding for a hurricane or tornadoes or a flood or an earthquake or wildfires, which then hurts everybody in the state because those state leaders boycott Israel, this is one of the most outrageous things. And I saw this break an hour ago, but I wanted to read the details. I've been doing that during the breaks. That I've heard. I mean, they're already going to blame Trump when there's hurricanes, saying he didn't do it right. I told you that. They're already doing it. They say, he didn't have the alert systems for Texas, which wasn't true. They did put out the emergency alerts with the flooding outside Austin, the hill country. This is insane.
Yeah, it's just weird covering it because I'm just like, how is this happening? You're sure this isn't a dream? Like, who comes up with this kind of a thing? It sounds like it's made up, but it's not. But this shows you, I guess, you just the links that they will go to give Israel this preferential treatment, even above our own, over the needs of the citizens. So imagine if you're in that city, you have nothing to do with it. Maybe you even, support Israel, but your state decides to cut some funds, and now sorry, we can't give you that disaster relief. We know the fires and the floods and the earthquakes ravaged your states, and you've got tens of thousands of people without power, and it's winter and they're starving. But hey, you boycotted Israel, so now I guess, this is your mess now. You're going to have to pay for it yourself. I mean, it's just weird. All right. So anyway, that happened. Sounds like I'm making it up, but there you go. There's several sources confirming it. Well, this is definitely a part of this whole narrative switch here. I guess with the Israel has now become a major topic, as much as they try to avoid it. So the Republican Party now, reportedly facing a generational revolt over U.S. support of Israel. As they should, now that we're seeing it in a very different light. Wondering why this country has so much power and influence. Anyways, I don't know. It's bizarre to watch the politicians defending it. But I guess they get a lot of money, some of them. But there are some ugly things happening there, including genocide. So let's guess that's one of my topics there. So good Christians, should they obey the Bible and support Israel? No, you should question everything. Study your Bible, I don't care, whatever. but know the difference between biblical Israel and modern Israel, and the fact that the modern Israel is just in its current form right now. The bigger concern going forward is the greater Israel, because they definitely want to expand. And this Gaza ethnic cleansing is all a part of that, and a genocide that is happening. They don't want you to talk about. Okay, so should we withhold aid from states that boycott Israeli industry? Absolutely not. That's insane. So I'm glad they pulled back on that, because that was just too much for everybody to handle. And next, starving Gazans are just a myth spread by Hamas. Okay, let's take a look. Actually, there's a bombshell interview on Tucker Carlson. I listened to this. He had a couple of really good interviews last week, and he's under fire for that. I don't like when you criticize that country. And this was interesting. Is Green Beret Lieutenant Colonel Tony Aguilar, who witnessed the war crimes in Gaza, which he spoke out about, and it's pretty damning stuff. Israel likes to hang up on the moral authority, try to convince you that they are doing their best to aid the citizens of Gaza. But it's Hamas. Maybe they're stealing the food or trying to sell it, or it's stuff that doesn't even make any sense. They think they control reality. But yeah, they got some cold water splashed on the humanitarian crisis, as it was exposed. So, anywho, we'll pull out a few stories on that one. But they're trying to say that they're not starving. They're also trying to show these videos, or showing very select locations and people, trying to make it sound like they're doing everything they can, and it's just everything's made up. There's no actual starving people. So let's take a look at which one do I show first. And it's weird the spin too. Well, I don't know where to start first. How about this?
It's the Wild West. We treat them like animals with no dignity.
You say that you saw, and again, I just want to state for the fifth time, I've met few people with more experience in situations like this. Chaos, foreign country, shooting, soldiers, confusion. So, I think you have a lot of experience interpreting what you saw. You said you saw no threat at all. You didn't see Palestinians with weapons. You didn't feel threatened. It doesn't, I'm sure there's a threat there, but you didn't experience it. But you said that there was shooting. Who was shooting at what and why?
The way, so to walk everyone through kind of how a distribution site works in terms of how are people being shot at? How does this happen? So early in the morning, the Palestinians, because mind you, the Palestinians, to get to the south, they cannot drive. They have to walk one way from where they live, because they have to go through the established military corridors, just one way to get to where they have to get to. They have to walk. So they can't just walk straight down to the site. They have to go west to the coastal corridor, down the coastal corridor, into the Morag corridor, down to the sites. So they're walking anywhere from 8 to 12 kilometers one way to get to the site. So when they queue up in the morning at the intersection of the Morag corridor and the coastal road, and the queuing gets into to the magnitude of thousands, the IDF hold them there with tanks in place. When the UG Solutions personnel call on the radio to the IDF to say the site is ready, the crowd is released in a massive tidal wave of people. It's dehumanizing.
So this is the real life Hunger Games that are happening now. So I listened to the whole interview. And it sounds like of these little humanitarian zones where they bring in the food and people are welcome in, most of the people that really need the help don't get any of it. They're up north. And so of this particular one that he was stationed at, you would see it. They'd set it up as like the Hunger Games, and like the beginning was like, here's all the food, and then everybody's, as soon as they say go, so these people have to walk because you're not allowed to drive in there, and they have to walk several kilometers, as he's saying, multiple miles one way, just to see if they can pick food, just to have a chance to go, as soon as they're allowed to go grab some food, they go, running, try to grab it. But meanwhile, they got the IDF like shooting bullets at them. Not trying to necessarily hit them, but they're just looking at them as like, subhuman savages. And they criticize guys like Tony Aguilar and the Americans for they're feeding their enemies, as they think. So they hate the Palestinians. There is never going to be a two-state solution there. They want all those people dead. They want them driven off, and they want to create their greater Israel project. So it's pretty horrific. I mean, they should just be honest about it, but they can't. So it's weird watching them do the mental gymnastics to try to justify the things that they're doing there. Yeah, that's where we're going, TK. Mark, yeah, it was, there he is, the Green Beret. He's seen a lot, and he's putting his ass on the line to expose what's happening there. You want to destroy your long military career to talk about our greatest ally that way. But he's doing the honorable thing. And he's also broken because he helped one of these little boys who got killed afterwards.
He didn't have much. And we thought maybe he was asking for more food, or maybe he was hurt. And we notioned him over, and he came up and he extends his right hand at us. And so I kind of walked up to him and waved him over. And the guy standing next to me, this young boy, holds his hand and he kisses it. And then he comes to me and he holds my hand and he kisses it. In Arab culture, that is a very significant sign of respect. That's not something that...
All right. I'm not going to play the whole 6-minute clip here, but he sees this poor little boy who walked multiple miles to help his family get food. And he's just a little kid. He's starving to death in his little skinny arms, trying to grab a half a bag of rice and a few supplies that'll maybe feed his family for a day, and then trying to go back, and then they're hit with tear gas, nerve gas, bullets from these IDF terrorists who hate those people. It's just, I guess it's amusement, but that's, as Deb said, it's the Hunger Games. Oh, okay, they're desperate, starving people trying to, I guess if they had like a little tiny grocery store and you had thousands of people and they're all going to try to come in, and there's not enough food to go around. So it's basically a race after they're already impoverished, walking all day, trying to scramble for supplies as they are being shot at. I mean, it's just awful. So we're supposed to support these people. We're supposed to ally with Israel and pretend that this isn't happening. Or is he lying? This is just Hamas propaganda. It's weird. I watch these influencers online. It's pretty shocking. And a lot of them are just these like sock puppet accounts, but they're big. They're big influential accounts. Here's one saying from so-called awesome Jew here, saying the more ex-influencers pander to Hamas propaganda and spread anti-Israel rhetoric, the more people are waking up and becoming supportive of the Jewish people. I mean, this is just full projection. So I am saying that now that the woke left is dead, I think the biggest threat is clearly the Zionist right. And they're the ones that they're just gaslighting people now. There's no Hamas propaganda. That's insane. Anti-Israel rhetoric. No, it's a skepticism of Zionism and probably the anti-Bibi and this hostile regime that's in charge of Israel. That's people are waking up and becoming supportive of the poor Palestinian people that are starving in the streets. This person says he's not here to sugarcoat anything. I'm just trying to tell you the truth. Who are you? You're an anonymous account. Don't get mad at me, because people are mad at you. If you see the X posts, there is a massive backlash against the prominent Zionist influencers. They're getting absolutely roasted in the comments. So people are exhausted. They have terrorist fatigue. No, we have the Israel fatigue. I'm tired of the double standard here. Tired of watching these extremists justify murder while pretending to be the victims. I mean, it's amazing. Just word for word. Again, the 100-degree opposite, or the 180-degree opposite. The world is starting to see through it. I mean, just blatant gaslighting. Keep pushing the agenda and you will only accelerate the backlash. I mean, this is 100% projection. They're just desperate trying to spin. And then they try to, they try to play the victim again. And there is a horrific thing. There's an Israeli man who's starving. And there's no doubt that Hamas are terrorists and awful people. But just because people are sympathetic to Palestinians does not mean they support Hamas. And it's just the way they disingenuously frame their arguments that way. So it's weird. One of the stories I heard, so you didn't hear any of the Zionist influencers say a peep over any of the sad situation for the Palestinians. But as soon as they had one Jewish hostage they could find who was digging his own grave, which is horrific and awful, then they started making a big fuss over this. How come people aren't talking about this one? But nary a mentions. I'm going to just say, because I'm being intellectually honest, I'll cover it from both sides. But you won't see a peep out of them for the starving Gaza boy. So here's another one, not a mirror. So up at 6 in the morning, there's another Gaza boy, older boy, getting in the Hunger Games. Gets to get up there at 6 in the morning. And there was no food after he finally got there. Haven't been out to eat, starving, just looking for a soup kitchen, trying to get supplies. And these motherfucking lying sacks of shit on Twitter will actually tell you that this is Hamas propaganda. I'm done. The gloves are off, man. I can't deal with it anymore. The woke leftists have been defeated. And now it's the Zionists on the right that need to be destroyed politically. And no more support for them militarily. So, anyway, well, this is what they're doing. This is the day in the life for the starving Gazans. And you watch Fox News, and they have the audacity to say that, oh yeah, Israel's trying their best to give them aid. No, they're not. Oh, but they can't because Hamas is stealing it. Sure, they are. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So. Yeah, there's no justification for that, but they're not humans to them. They themselves are God's chosen people looking down on the American goyim to do their bidding and support them. Meanwhile, they starve and destroy and commit genocide against their neighbors. So it's sickening. And yeah, it's innocent women and children. So, yeah. No, they're just gaslighting us and just saying that it's not really true. And they're actually accusing like people like Tucker of like being like on the payroll of Qatar. Like, really? There's no shame. They're just awful people now. Yeah, I can't imagine God would want anything to do with Israel or Jesus or any of that, and it's wild. But they're struggling controlling this narrative, so I think this is going to come back on them. People are waking up, and there are good people. It's tough in Israel, man, because they're pretty authoritarian over there. Anybody who's going against their narrative, and they're trying to keep that place very tightly controlled so the news media can't report on the atrocities. But there are some really good Israeli Jews out there putting themselves in harm's way to support their neighbors that actually have some humanity in them. Thank you. So there we go. There's some hope. There are some good people in there, and a lot of people hate Bibi Netanyahu. Guy's got a 30% approval rating. They hate him there. There's probably a lot more good people like that are sick of it. They want Bibi gone. They don't like what's happening in their name. It's ruining their image and their religion for these Zionist colonists that want to destroy Gaza and then make the Greater Israel Project. They want to expand everywhere and become like a major country. But I don't think they deserve it. And I think it's part of it, I think, is some sort of prophecy, is that's when the new Messiah comes back. But these aren't the Hebrews in the Bible. So this is a very different group of people. Truth tellers always attacked. Yeah, for sure. And they're cracking down pretty hard against anybody who's going against their preferred narrative over there. Yeah, that's good. It's not to demonize the people or to demonize Jews, or it's not an anti-Semitic thing. It's not against Israel. It's just criticism of this current government and their actions against the Gazans and trying to drag us into war with Iran or going into Syria and so many other things. So their government needs to be restrained, and they need to stop buying off our politicians. He needs to be taken out. He needs to be sent to the ICC. But one of the horrifying revelations I got from this, I don't think it was Tony Aguilar, but it was the other Tucker interview that he did with Mashir, I forget the guy's name, saying that as bad as Bibi Netanyahu is, even if you got rid of him, there's other people in there that are just as bad, if not worse, that could take over, that have that same mentality as Bibi, or maybe they think Bibi's too dovish. He's not doing enough. I mean, if they could get away with it. But Anyway, so the narrative is shifting, and people are definitely turning on Israel, no matter how much they try to gaslight it. They have a PR crisis. So let's check out a clip here, a little refresher here as Tucker called out Ted Cruz. Who aspires for that? Serve our country so that you can serve another country from your false interpretation from the Bible. What a buffoon. This is a highly intelligent man, but he takes way too much money from corrupt foreign interests like AIPAC. Ted, yeah, let's have a little history, Ted. You get over $1 million that you've collected from AIPAC. And now you're just spinning here, trying to shift here. But no one's buying. Tucker's not buying it. You guys are bought and paid for by the Israel lobby. They own you. It's sick. Here's another one. Randy Fine. Look at that, going to Israel, and the first thing he does is walk over to the Western Wall. No entourage, just me. Why the hell are our leaders in Israel? We have so many issues to tackle at home. Good question. Speaker Johnson, and now Randy Fine, because they're going to go suck up for more money. They are sick. There's one more from Trump here. That's another disturbing thing. Adelson or whoever. These high-profile Jewish donors. Cool, you give a lot of money, support Trump, but then they expect something in return. So they show up at the president more than anybody that is at the White. So where are you? These people are buying all of their influence. This should not be happening here in this country. No one should have that much power. Now you spend all your time at the White House so you can get Trump to go along with your agenda. You think you got him bought and paid for because you donated the money? I mean, there's a call for some of it, but that's too much. That shows you the power here. Yeah. We'll take everything. They'll use their military. They'll wipe out all of the countries surrounding Israel, create a greater Israel. You can never give them enough. So, but that's alarming. And they're not even registered as a foreign agent. So they're on behalf of a foreign country lobbying our country. Then you got all that money being thrown at them. And now we're finding ourselves in who's more important, the Americans or Israeli? And it's sure becoming obvious that it seems like it's Israel priority first. Okay, keep rolling. All right. Anyways, a new clip I just got sent from TK Mark. This is a fresh video here from about 30 minutes ago from C-SPAN. President Trump on the possible Israeli plans to occupy all of Gaza. Let's check this one out. Thank you, TK Mark. And that's the good news is he is admitting that there is a problem over there. People are starving. Went flat against the narrative that it was all Hamas propaganda. Okay, well, if it's up to Israel, Gaza will be taken out. This is part of a project. They just need us to shut up and go along with it. And they need to control our media and control our politicians and let the U.S. military do all the dirty work for them. And then they will rule over us and the rest of the world. Pretty wild. No, that's cool. So there is a fight. So it's not over yet. There are good people that are exposing it all. And here we go. Going on with Mike tonight. Yes, as far as I know, we should have Toxically Masculine Tuesday. So we'll look forward. I don't think we're probably not going to cover much from Israel, but that's okay. That's what you got me for. So I can talk about this one. And then there's a lot of other huge stories. So yes, that should be on tonight with Mike Barra, Dr. Brooks Agnew's Trail Boss, Steve Doran, and myself covering the latest news and current events. Perhaps the best roundtable on the internet. I think I might agree. It's definitely controversial, and I'm sure there's always good stuff to talk about. So as far as I know, it is on. So hopefully we'll see that. No audio, huh? I got no audio on both of those. I could hear him. I don't know why that was. Huh. Sorry about that. I don't know which. I played two clips. So anyway. Yes, Toxically Masculine Tuesday. It is on. Unless Mike bails, but I don't think he will. Okay, well, anyways, I have got just two more quick stories before I go. I guess the last one. Israel lobbies, should they be amplified to control Congress? No, they're already powerful enough. Way too powerful. Now it's time to expose it and dial it back. And expose everybody that's taking big money. Put America's interests first. Always comes first. Okay. Sorry, I don't know which one it is now because I played two, right? There was one that was embedded in the article talking about AIPAC and how some of his top donors, were in the White House as much as anybody that didn't live there. Was not, part of their day-to-day staff. And then you had the other one where he's speaking out just recently on that C-SPAN, talking about Israel, or it's going to be up to Israel and what happens with Gaza. Well, we know what they're going to do. But anyway, it's going to be my job and other people's to show you the truth about what's happening over there. Anywho, last one, or two more. Alex Stein, 99, won the internet on August 4th, 2025. That would be yesterday. There's a couple of really funny clips. You got the troll MSNBC, and then he some devastating presentation. Well, at the Texas Capitol Monday. So he appeared to test. He was trolling transgenders with some harsh truths from him. An awkward situation. This was pretty funny. So there's two clips. There's the one on MSNBC as he interrupted a live broadcast. MSNBC sucks. He's thrown out. Oh no, he said they sucked. It wasn't like he was using foul language or anything. We could still see him popping his head out in the back. No, they're not there to cover it. They should have interviewed him. They probably recognize him and know that's going to go off the rails. But it's hilarious. It's fun to watch go off the rails. But way better even than that was him trolling transgenders. Here we're going with the roll clip on this one. Uh-oh. We got no audio on anything, huh? Well, I don't know if I can... I don't know if I'm going to play any more of these. That's weird. So there's no audio on any of the clips? Well, shit, I don't know what I can do. It's not going to be very... Or, I mean, the volume might be low. I don't know. Let me see. What? Well, if there's no audio, I can hear it fine. So I have no idea all of a sudden why I'm not getting any audio. That's a bummer. All right, well, it's on my Twitter. So if you guys want to check out Twitter or X or go to Alex Stein 99, this is a hilarious clip. I know I retweeted it on mine. You want to check that out. It's going to be a little offensive for some, but, Anyway, it's also fair game. So sorry I couldn't play it on this broadcast. I don't know what's going on. Hopefully that'll be fixed. And I do have a quick announcement since I've got you guys here. I actually am planning to do a special third show tomorrow at the same time. Gonna have planning on having a guest. It's going to be Gene Owens of Faithless Town. It's a very interesting musician. Somewhat of a political activist, or at least politically opinionated. He's an interesting guy. And that should be a good conversation there. I'm not sure if he's going to fly, if we're just going to kind of cover the news together, or if it's like riding shotgun, or if we're going to do more of a formal interview, or just a mix of both. So that'll be interesting. I haven't had a guest on the broadcast, so that should be fun. We'll try that one out with another like-minded individual, I think. So it should, and this is some good music too. You should check out Spotify Faithless Town. But he's a local Nashville guy. So that's what I've got on tap. Other than that, I've got one final quick story, if that. Not much to go into. Final story of the day. Well, I would say Alex Stein 99 won the internet yesterday with two big clips in one day. But you'll have to take my word on the one. You'll have to look that one up separately since the audio is not working. And then finally, so in my opinion, he won the internet. And then finally, the last topic I have, humans are slaves being run by reptilian overlords. This out of David Icke. Who else? As he's been saying for 30 years, and people can laugh all they like, but they will have to face the truth eventually. In fact, they already are with the world they live in, saying every man takes the limits of his own field of vision for the limits of the world. And the reptilian level is actually only one part of it. But I've seen this guy. He's a sweet guy. Really nice. William Tompkins. In fact, I'm sure Mike Barra and Dr. Brooks Agnew would be very aware of him. And he was also on that, was it the Cosmic Disclosure? Was it David? I forget his name already. One of the big names in the alternative media. I'm forgetting his name. And the big show that they had on Gaia back in the day. I don't know why. But anyway, and with Corey Good. David Wilcox. Sorry about that. But they would have William Tompkins on there as a special guest. UFO guy, U.S. Navy engineer. Thank you, Deb. Yeah, David Wilcock. I don't know why I drew a blank. David. This is the former U.S. Navy engineer and pilot William Tompkins spilled the beans on a deathbed confession that Draco reptilians own the Earth, humans are slaves, the moon is a giant ET control and command center camouflaged as a natural satellite of the Earth, and humanity has been lied to about everything for thousands of years. Hey, you know what? I can't disprove that. It is possible, as bizarre as that is. I don't know if I believe it. But at this point, I mean, with things being as strange as they are, with reality and the state of the world as it is, would that really be that shocking? It just feels like we're all living in a bad Hollywood movie. And who's to say the studio is not just being run from the moon, which is also this unnatural satellite above us. It's not part of our Earth. it's really unusually close to our Earth versus other moons from other planets, which are out a distance. Ours has a major tidal component to it as it's driving the oceans, but maybe that's also created life, or it's allowed us to thrive in a new way. If we didn't have a moon, there would be no tides, and so wouldn't the Earth just be a big giant swamp? I don't know. I'm not a scientist, but maybe the reptilians live here. Now they're angry. I don't know. But anyway, who's to say? It's all part of the Matrix. Would that be that unusual? They're just like feeding off our negative energy? I have no idea. With the way people act and the way the wars are being run, with the confusion over our history, you know what? At this point, nothing really surprises me. William Tompkins, yeah, he's an interesting interview. I don't subscribe to his story. Fair enough. Yeah, he was a nice guy. I liked that show, the Cosmic Disclosure Show. But then it turned out that everything that Corey Goode said was all BS. Then he tried to sue people for using this BS. It's full of bad characters. It's a lot of grifters. So, nice guy, but yeah, a lot of them aren't very credible, and I have no idea. Anyway, but we're here. This is the the greatest reality show in the galaxy. But anyway, that is enough for my time. Again, I am over. It's all good. It was great to have you guys. Deb and Rick and TK Mark and anybody out there lurking, please like and subscribe. And please tune in for tomorrow's show. So it could be a very fun and exciting. We'll mix it up with a special guest, Gene Owens of Faithless Town. And of course, on tonight, with Toxically Masculine Tuesday, the usual suspects. So that should be good. If you're watching Cosmic Disclosure, yeah, episode 2 Logic. Yeah, it was fun. I watched that in like 2017, I think. That was fun. I binged watched all of it. But then there's really no other reason to subscribe to Gaia. That was at a time where I was trying to get a job in Gaia. And then that would have been cool. Like Boulder, Colorado. They had everything going. It was like, oh, they had this huge show. And then they had so much opportunity there. And I actually had lunch with David Wilcock and sat in for a couple of his shows at that time. So it was good. But then that whole thing blew up in a bad way. They got discredited and went through a lot of bad PR. So maybe that was a good thing that I didn't get that job. But anyway, yeah, Gaia's kind of got a bad name for itself now. So too bad. A lot of potential, but not anymore. All right, Rick, Deb, Mark, everybody. So yeah, I guess not, man. I was like wondering, and I was like, I've been to your place. I sat down with David. I've, hung out. I've met some of the people, had lunch, was a nice guy. And if you guys don't, and you know what, the worst part, I applied for a job as a production assistant. Not as a host, not saying, hey, I'm Blake Wally and I want to do my own show. Like, I wanted to show them how much of a team player I was. Just show me how the entire operation works so I can learn everything about the business. Meanwhile, I'll be trying to work my way into perhaps selling a show at some point. But they wouldn't even hire me as a production assistant. That's just a gopher helping put the studio together, moving equipment around, learning, the audio, but learning the industry from behind the scenes. I wasn't even good enough to get an email. If anybody like, hey, Blake, it was nice meeting you. Good luck with everything. But we don't, need many more production assistants. No, just get no call, no show, no nothing. Just like, what the hell did I do? Anyway, I don't know. I don't understand the industry. So the people behind it, the decision process. So maybe it is. Maybe it's too honest, not a grifter, not going to go there like, oh, this guy's not going to go along with our weirdness. And there was something definitely weird and sinister about that place, as I found out afterwards. So, all right, fair enough, Deb. I will take that as a compliment. Although at that time, that would have been huge. Like, yeah, give me a job. Boulder, Colorado was a nice place. It could have been a good gig. Had potential to be a good career, but it was something wrong with everything. But anyway, thank you, Deb. Appreciate you. And everybody else, love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. And yeah, back tomorrow and tonight. Going to be a busy week. Thank you for all your support. Love you guys, and I will see you later. And that's it. Gonna run. Until next time, I am out.